Well, great evening, great evening. I am the dynamic, daring, one-of-a-kind diva, Denise Silas, all the way from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Excited to have you guys on tonight. Let's talk about it Tuesday. Welcome for those of you who are on here for the very, very first time. And then, of course, I love my repeat offender who is here every week. So let me tell you guys real quickly. Now that you have come into the on here today, you are not now in our distribution list. I'm never offended when somebody tell me to stop. So if you don't want to get the text, feel free to just hit stop and they'll stop coming to you. But however, what I will say is, I promise you, if it's not the next week, there's going to be a topic where you're going to benefit from. So I just encourage you just to stay on it. I don't send a whole bunch of texts. Just stay on it to see if it's a topic that you want. And you may go 5-6 weeks and then finally we hit something that's relevant to you. So I promise you, it is definitely worth it to stay connected with us and just through that texting system. So let me jump in. A chipmunk. Let me jump in. We're putting in the chat an animal that would describe how your date went. That's an animal. You're going to choose an animal to describe how your date went. So that's what we want you to put in the chat. So I'm going to jump in. And just helps us to introduce you to who we are, why we're here, and all that good stuff. So as I mentioned, I am the dynamic, daring, one-of-a-kind diva, Denise Silas. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. What our business is Empowered by DS. I do it with my 2 daughters. It was started just for the purpose of really to help support women and being the best version of themselves. This is one of the many things that we do it through our experiences. So we're all about empowering a woman unapologetically to be her best version of who she is. So we do this in a variety of ways. We have this weekly talk. Let's Talk About It Tuesday. We just launched our new community, and with one of the things in our community we are doing is a book club, and it's called Belong, Become, and Bloom Book Club. So we're starting that. We also do a local event called Diva Dinner and Dialogue. So through communication, we're building confidence and connection and community with women. I also host a quarterly workshop series that we do. So that's all about empowering women to just be their best self. And then when we come as a community, we're supporting each other and being our best selves. I also have a quarterly subscription box. And really what we do with that subscription box is all about having women to really take a look at themselves and stay focused on the desires of their hearts, and on a quarterly basis, really working to be able to get closer to where they really want to be when it comes to that. So a lot of times we get so busy with everything else, we lose focus on the things that's important to us. And so that empowerment box is all about helping women to do that. And then you'll see a lot of our yearly things that we're doing. We're planning for our annual trip that's coming up in April. We do for in September, Feel the Chill and Hottest Heels in memory of my sister who passed from ovarian cancer. We have a Christmas project to help the seniors, and we end our year with what we call Vision to Victory celebration. So my thing, you guys, is all about not just having something you come in and out. It's really about you being connected and staying with us for the journey of your year, so that we can see you grow and see you be able to celebrate that and support you in that process. We, as I mentioned, just launched our membership community. If you have a desire to just learn something about it, learn what we're doing, there's several ways that you can stay connected with us. Still have our free community on Facebook, but then we have levels where we are able to give a deeper connection with you as well. So if you just if you got a text from me, all you have to do is reply back the word tribe. Otherwise, you're going to text tribe to that number. And that number is the magical number to stay connected with me. It's I use that for everything. These are the women that's part of our charter members that have come in and said, okay, I'm ready to run with you. So we're still building that tribe. I'm excited about them just taking a chance on me and then trusting. But a lot of these women have been with me for the last 2 or 3 years. So it's not like, hey, I wonder who she is. But they trust me enough to say, hey, I want to run this race and do this movement with you. This, our book, the mountain is you. So I started listening to it. So even if you don't participate in our book club, I am going to encourage you to get this book. Sometimes, we're stuck, we're sabotaging ourselves, but she said it's really not about self-sabotage, it's some other things that's going on within you. So I encourage you to grab that book. If you are not doing your own mental self-care, I encourage you to invest in you and take the time to do it. I would be lying if I said I'm a reader. It'd be a big old lie. But I'm a great listener. I'm a great listener. I love audiobooks. So if you are in our tribe and you're planning on participating, you want to get your book so that you can have your first chapter read by March 12th. This is the series of things that we're doing this year. We have it all planned out. We had our very first event we had our first Diva Dinner and Dialogue because we had at the beginning of the year our vision board experience in January. So in February, we had our Diva Dinner and Dialogue. So we had a great time. I got my things in the wrong order because it was supposed to be next, but this is our our event. So two things that regardless of where you live. So if you're because I do have somebody who's in the Atlanta area that's meeting us in Birmingham. So if you're near, you can do our Birmingham, but put on your calendar for 2027, you guys. I know it seems like, oh, that's so far away, but it really isn't. We're having a wellness on the water cruise. So you can be anywhere in the country and participate with our retreat with that. So if you want more information, just stay connected with us. We're going to launch that and start paying on that just after we get finished with our day away excursion. But we're excited about just bringing women together and connecting and resetting together and just getting to know each other. So and that's what the whole purpose of all these retreats are. So this is the pictures from it's coming up. There you go. From last Saturday, and the event is called Diva Dinner and Dialogue. So our goal is through conversation to build connection and community. We talk about those things that a lot of times women just don't have nobody to talk about. So we really hit on self-love and how we stay focused on ourselves. And it just the conversation gets real juicy, and it just really gives a lot of us the reminder that we're not alone. We're not alone. So we would love for you to be committed, connect with us even virtually as well. So this is finishing, DeNea is finishing our series today for the month of February. We're excited about it. I'll tell you that now that you have registered, if you keep up with that link, you should be able to just click that link whenever you need it and it brings you back in. If that's not the case, let me know, because then I can tell the Zoom people they lied to me. But you don't have to keep registering now that you're within the network. So I'm excited because next month is International Women's Day, International Women's Month. So the goal for the next month, you guys, I'm so excited. It's just pearls of wisdom. So every week I'm gonna interview a young lady who is one of our seasoned saints, 65 and above, and just to give us a reflection of things they've experienced in life, the lessons that they have learned, things, just having that conversation and really bringing in their personal experiences as well. So stay tuned. We have 5 Tuesdays in March to be able to get some wisdom. So you better come, especially if y'all, us, I'm almost a seasoned saint. I'm getting close to that 60. But I'm going to have my notebook. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to have my notebook ready to learn and to get some of those pearls of wisdom. So definitely plan to be there. If you want to learn more about Empowered by DS, you can check out our website. Also, any of the previous conversations, you can go to my YouTube page, Empowered by DS. You connect with me on Facebook, Empowered by DS. Everything's Empowered by DS. So check us out. This year, oops, my thing messed up. But that's supposed to be become. So our theme this year is align, become, and conquer. So really just staying focused on who God has called us to be and being courageous enough to become that person. So everything we're doing this year is around that. So, girl, I was on your website stealing your logo. I'd be trying to find me some stuff. I'd be like, She didn't send me no nothing. So, but you guys gotta check out her website. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And wait, this brace yourself, DeNea. I need you to brace yourself. So this is gonna tell y'all how far back DeNea and I go. You ready, DeNea?
Wow.
So DeNea and I have history together as sales directors with Mary Kay. So this is like 2015, 2018, like way back. And it's funny, the picture with the finger thingy trying to hold, that was a whole experience for me to get my fingers right. So they was representing the West Coast and I was representing Wisconsin. But we used to have a great time. We had a great time. So she's one of my sorors. I just wanted to bring some pictures up. Just let people know, some women I just meet for the first time. Some women I've been knowing for a long time, but just I was able to reconnect and just saw DeNea. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to share that live. She was doing a live on Facebook, and her content was right in line with what I've been teaching, what I stand for, what my brand represents. And I just so glad that you said yes, DeNea, that you would be willing to share your time and your expertise, because I don't claim to know it all, y'all. I don't at all. And I know there's people that that I cannot touch, right? Because I know there's specific people who are assigned to me. There's specific people that are assigned to you. So my goal is to bring as many variety of women on, regardless if it sounds like they're saying the same thing, because that person may connect with someone that I cannot connect with. So it's all about that. So yeah, I had to get these pictures for you. So let me go ahead and stop the share. Welcome everybody. And I'm going to read her bio, and make sure you, DeNea, put your website in the chat. So make sure you guys go and check out her website. So I hope I'm reading the right part. Yeah, so I'm excited about what she's going to share today. So DeNea Conner is a speaker and thought leader specializing in identifying reclamation and strategic stillness. Born and raised in St. Louis, she studied developmental biology at Temple University, laying the foundation for a distinguished 2-decade career in the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. After spending 15 plus years in biotech operations leadership, DeNea experienced an unexpected career transition that became the catalyst for developing the strategic stillness framework. Drawing from her own journey through disruption and her work supporting professionals through career transitions, DeNea brings authenticity, vulnerability, and practical wisdom to every presentation. Her approach combines personal storytelling with actionable frameworks, creating transformative experiences that resonate long after the session ends. So y'all, you better get ready to learn. Did she say donkey? Lord, my friends helped them. Another soror in the house. Gotta send her some love, sorors. Send her some love in the chat so she know how she's warmly supported. But thank you, DeNea, so much. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna give it all to you, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this. So let me get my notebook.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, please let me know, because I was having some issues with my internet. But first and foremost, I want to thank you, Denise, for the opportunity to be here. And thanks everyone for showing up to support me, my family. I do appreciate it. And I consider not only my biological family, but the family here with Empowered by DS, because this is my third time. So I feel like we are all one community. So thank you all so very much for having me. I want to start by asking a question, and it's actually a question most people rarely ask themselves. And that is, who are you? Who are you? Not your job title, not your responsibilities or obligations, whether you're a mother, a parent, a daughter, a sister, but who are you when you no longer have your title? That's what I want you to think about right now. Because in today's environment, with the layoffs, the restructures, career pivots, burnout, more and more people are quietly confronting a little bit of uncertainty about not only themselves, but their next steps and where do they fit in. And if that's the case, you are not alone. When disruption occurs, it doesn't just change our circumstances, it actually challenges our identity. So, what I want to talk about today is called embracing strategic stillness. And what we're going to do in today's session, if I can get this to work, let's try it this way. There we are. What I want to go over today is just 3 learning objectives. One, that you will walk away with what I call the 3-step identity reset. And then 2, understand why stillness is a performance strategy. So what I want to do before we actually get started is I want everyone to drop in the chat. No, don't drop that in chat. I want you to think about this one first. Think about a moment in your life where everything or something changed, which was unexpected. It could be a career, a relationship, a health scare. Now that you have that thought, I want you to hold that just for a moment, because as we go through this session, I want you to reflect back on that. My disruption happened when I believed that my value lived on 2 sheets of paper: my resume, my titles, the promotions, the achievement, bulleted points that prove that I mattered. And for a long time, that actually made sense. I mean, think about it. How many people do you know present themselves by what they do versus who they are? So now I want you to drop in the chat if you've ever introduced yourself by your job title. If you've ever introduced yourself by your job title, drop it in the chat. Now I have to get to the chat to see it. So I'm assuming everything is good because I can't really see the chat. If so, you're not alone. For me, I was proud to answer that until one Thursday morning when everything changed. I logged into my computer, my tea was in hand, my inbox was open, and I was ready to start my day. And then I noticed the 10 o'clock meeting on my schedule. Nothing unusual, just another quick meeting, or so I thought. I walked into what I assumed was a routine meeting, and I walked out without a job. No transition, no warning, just due to low demand for product X, a decision was made to eliminate all supporting positions. I sat there frozen. I had 1,000 questions running through my mind all at once. In one sentence, my entire role disappeared. And with it, the identity that I had spent years building. See, I came from the biotech industry, and biotech to me wasn't just a career. I actually believed it was my calling. And when it was gone, I wasn't just unemployed. I was unanchored. That moment of silence, of change, of disruption became the foundation of what I now call strategic stillness. Because before you can find any direction to go forward again, you have to give yourself permission to slow down. So there's a 3-step process. And the very first step is the pause. This is the moment when life interrupts the version of who you thought you were. And when it happens, our instinct is to move immediately, to fix it, to fight it, to flee from it. Because doing something feels a lot safer than just sitting still. Think about it. Every knee-jerk reaction you ever regretted probably happened because you skipped the pause. Your relationship hit a rough patch and you lashed out. You hear that a loved one is sick and you immediately think, worst case scenario. The company sends out an email about downsizing and immediately you start updating your resume. But let me ask you this. What if you could create space between what happens to you and how you respond? That space, that pause, that's where your power lies. See, the reason that the pause feels so uncomfortable is it because it removes all the noise that we have in the background. Days after my job loss, I was in full survival mode. I was thinking about rent and bills and responsibilities. All of that was just colliding in my mind all at once. Within 72 hours, I had updated my resume. I had applied for over 30 jobs. I had reached out to everybody I knew on LinkedIn. I was moving fast, but I wasn't really thinking clearly. And then right there in the middle of me applying for yet another job, my laptop died. No charger in sight, no backup plan, and no distraction. It was just me and the quiet that I had been trying to outrun. And for the very first time since that job loss announcement, I was forced to be still. And I sat there in silence. You see, that was my pause. Not the calm, candlelit meditation type moment, the raw kind, the kind that kind of feels a little bit like exposure. You see, I had built my entire identity around being busy, being productive, and being needed. And stillness stripped all of that away. But it also revealed something else that I didn't expect. Stillness didn't erase me. It actually showed me who I was underneath all of that motion. So the next time you're faced with any type of uncertainty or unexpected change, here are a few simple ways that I've actually practiced using the pause. The first thing I try to do, not always, of course, is actually try to pause and let my body kind of settle before my mouth or my fingers kind of jump into action. Then I'll ask myself, is this response actually aligned with who I want to be? And second, before I say anything, I take a second to think about this and ask myself, will this even matter tomorrow, next week, or a year from now? Or am I just reacting in the moment out of emotions? Okay. So you get that part. You've paused, you've created space. Step 2 is the process. So how do you make sense of what's unfolding right in front of you, especially when change hits hard and fast? The unexpected shows up and you're suddenly standing at the crossroads. See, this is where most people get stuck. Most people either freeze and kind of replay the same thoughts over and over and over in their mind, just trying to make sense of it, while others rush and grab the very first option that they can just to escape the discomfort. Let's take a quick post check. What I want you to do is drop in the chat and let me know which one sounds more like you. A, I replay the same thought over and over in my head. Or B, I just jump into action. Out of discomfort, I just jump into action. Which one resonates more with you? See some B's. Some B's, some B's. Okay, everybody is a mover and a shaker. Got it. We've all been there. I've actually experienced both. Both responses are actually completely human. Yet both can actually leave us feeling a little kind of out of control, like we're not controlling our own lives. You see, processing isn't about having all the answers. It's about slowing down just long enough so that you can hear what's beneath the noise. I like to call this the quiet middle. It's not glamorous and it's definitely not Instagrammable, but it is the place where you finally hear your own voice again so that you can begin rebuilding your identity from the inside out. And this is where the real work begins. Here are a few questions that I like to ask myself to kind of help navigate that change. This, hopefully you can see, there we go. The first question I'll ask myself is, what am I trying not to feel? 2, am I actually looking for clarity, or am I just trying to get some relief from the discomfort of the change? And then 3rd, if the roles, the titles, and the expectations disappeared, who am I underneath all of that? You see, the pause quiets the noise. The process reveals the truth. So once you've sat with the truth long enough and something starts to shift, you're now ready to move forward, but this time with intention. And that brings us to step number 3, the pivot. You stayed in that quiet middle long enough to realize, you know what? Everything didn't fall apart when I paused. And now that realization allows me to build a little bit of strength, because the pivot is where you start to reclaim your worth, not necessarily from what you produce, but from who you are. So you ask, why does this matter? It matters because this isn't about choosing your next job. It's about making choices that actually align with your true identity. I'll give you an example. My pivot, it didn't show up in a planning session, and it didn't show up when I was updating my resume. Mine actually happened on a random Tuesday, sitting on the floor, playing with my 2-year-old niece. You know, one of those simple, quiet moments. I actually would have rushed past it if I was busy. She was playing on the floor happily. Of course, I was not. I was physically there, but I was deep in thought. And while I was sitting there, I was kind of thinking, should I be checking the job boards? Have I received any emails from recruiters? Shouldn't somebody be reaching back out to me? I wonder if I got that job that I interviewed for. I was so consumed about being unemployed that I didn't even realize that she had stopped playing and was just staring at me. When I finally looked up, she kind of locked eyes, kind of serious, focused, you know, that toddler intensity. And she slowly lifted a piece of plastic food in my face and said, "Eat, TT, eat." I blinked because it kind of caught me off guard. And in that ordinary moment, something shifted. That space in my life that I had been calling empty when I was trying to search and find answers, it didn't really feel like a void anymore. It felt more like an invitation. The invitation that I had been waiting for all along was right there, right in front of me, at that tiny plastic table in her little Tykes playhouse. You see, here's what hit me at that moment. To recruiters, I was just a candidate. To the job boards, I was unemployed. But to her, I was just TT, her dinner guest. No title, no resume, just me, fully committed to pretending that that plastic food was real. And something inside of me shifted. My role was gone, but my worth was still here. You see, stillness shattered the belief that I had to be productive to be valuable. And once that belief was broke, I moved differently. And that's when the pivot became real. It wasn't just something I realized, it was something I actually chose. So, if you're navigating any type of change right now, something has happened in your personal life, and it's a pivot that you need to take, here are 3 ways that I execute the pivot in my personal life. 1, own your next chapter. You are not your previous role or your title. Start by untangling who you are from who you used to be. Number 2, which is probably the most important, titles explain tasks, value explains your impact. And number 3, lead with who you are. When you're talking about yourself, instead of leading with your resume, leading with your job title, lead with what you care more about. I deeply care about, I'm committed to, or I'm passionate about building. And when you practice those 3 shifts, you stop scrambling for what's next and you start moving to who you truly are. So I want to bring this full circle and kind of recap, because disruption will occur. And when it does, I want you to remember 3 things. 1, pause. Give yourself permission to stop just long enough so that you can feel what's happening instead of reacting to it. 2, process. Stay in that quiet middle just long enough that you can ask yourself some honest but uncomfortable questions. And then 3, move forward, grounded in who you are and not necessarily what you do. That's how you reclaim your identity, not by rushing forward, but by moving forward with intention. So before we wrap up, because I want to make sure we stay on time, I would love, 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 love your feedback. So I'm going to post here a QR code and ask if you can please complete the survey. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if anything resonated with you. If there's something that resonated with you, let me know that so I can continue to do that. If there's something that just didn't quite land, let me know that as well. And I can work on that. The survey should take about 1, maybe 2 minutes at the most. So I will drop the link in the chat, and you can also scan the QR code and it'll take you right there. All right. So if you can do me that favor, that would be fabulous. And when you are done, I'm going to ask you to just drop done in the chat. And when you're finished with that, I want to leave you with just one final thought before I wrap up. Okay? So 1 to 2 minutes, drop done in the chat. This. They just fast. I see a couple people are done. We'll wait about 1 more minute, but thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. I do appreciate it.
And while we're waiting, if there's anybody who has any questions or want to give her some verbal feedback, we can do that as well.
Absolutely.
We have time. We have time. So what I'll say first, while they're finishing up and coming through, everything you shared is why I started Empowered by DS. Because if you think about it, we all went through something in pandemic, right? We all was shooken up. So Empowered by DS got started because there's so many women around me that had got shooken up and did not know how to go through that process that you just described, of doing that. So it's, whether it's, when you told me to think about it, I thought about when my mom passed away. Mm-hmm. I thought about when I was relocated across country, and didn't know anybody. And those happened at the same time. So now you have 2 major things happening, and I had just had a baby. So, So all of it had to happen, I guess, in 30 days, through that whole process. But there is, when I was listening to you speak on Facebook, the message, and I'm gonna share it in my groups, is it maybe just think about a variety of ways that we get impacted by different things and that we don't process, that we continue to move versus taking that moment to pause. And I said to my daughter one day, I said, pausing is my power move. Like when you stop and think about it, you stop and get yourself together. And when you talked about what's your reaction, I know if I read something and my fingers go right away, I stop. because that's me reacting, right? Then I take a moment because I can, you're like, what? Oh, let me erase all of that. So I'm aware of how I respond to some things as well. So I encourage, everybody just kind of think through some different things that could be, you may not have gone through this process. That's why you say if you're staying stuck in a season that you have not allowed yourself to process, to even be able to pivot. Like you can't even get to that point as well. So that's what I knew, girl. I knew that you were supposed to be on here. So yes, I love.
Thank you. Let's see. I think we got a bunch of comments in here. I'll go ahead and wrap it up so that we have some time for Q&A. So let me go back to the chat here. Okay, perfect. All right, so there we are next. All right, so we'll go back again right before I wrap it up. I just want to leave you with one final thought, and that is, remember that restructuring story I shared with you at the beginning? Well, months later, I walked into a job interview and the hiring manager asked me that oh so familiar question. Tell me about yourself. And for the first time, I didn't perform. I didn't start off with my titles. I simply said, I am a resilient leader who meets challenges head on, who thinks strategically, and who creates clarity in uncertainty. I lead from who I am, not what I do. And in that moment, I recognized my identity was way beyond my job title or my resume. So before we leave, I want to leave you with these final thoughts. And that is, before you rush back into proving, into fixing, into doing, or trying to figure things out, I want you to just remember to pause, even if it's for about 5 seconds. Strip away the role, release any expectations, let go of the need to perform. And what remains then is your identity, steady, capable, and untouched by circumstances. That's the version of you worth reclaiming. And that's the version of you the world is waiting for. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, wait. Shanitra is trying to complete your survey, but it's asked when she clicks on the link, it's asking her for a code.
Tell her to put in still, STILL.
Perfect.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay. Did that work, Shanitra?
Hey, Controller. Thank you.
It was good. If you guys haven't done the book 100 Days of Believing Bigger,
I'm gonna stop sharing so that I can see the chat.
Everything she talks about being able to know who you are without, if you take all the labels off, that devotional is phenomenal of helping you to really understand what your gifts, your talents, own who you are, and be able to unapologetically shine in those ways. So I encourage you to do that devotional and really do some deep dive into like, who are you? Like, take off all the mamas. Like, what do you own? Who are you? Because yeah, even not just say I'm a mom. Well, are you a nurturer? Are you like, do get more into, instead of just the labels, because the labels will have you locked up. They will have you locked up. And you would get labeled. I had a friend that she's on here, and her new job position has her doing something specifically, right? So every time somebody sees her, they want her to talk about that job specifically. Whereas there's so many other things that she's more passionate about, like you said, letting people know what you're passionate about, so that you can, because to me, how I would also relate this is if we're so busy, and in that book, it talks about the mountains. Like, are you driven by the job or the label of the parent of the, it's like 4 different labels she talks about. And to me, if you don't get clarity about who you, like the true of who you are, you cannot fully operate in what God has called you to do, or be able to fully own that. So do some dig deep and some research on that, because it's just keep asking yourself questions. Keep asking yourself questions. What do I love? What do I like to do? Why do I like that? What am I good at? Like, keep doing that so that you can find yourself really fully living out what God has called you to do. So anybody have any questions? Because I get on that. Like, that's my thing. I take them labels off. Like, take those labels off.
I don't have a question, but hi, DeNea. I just want to share something, because this has just been so good for me. And I know, like, a lot of people are looking at it from a business standpoint, but I was divorced, and people used to ask me, like, how'd you make it through it? And I could never really explain it. Mm-hmm. And you just hit the nail on the head, because I paused and I didn't go try to do anything. I just tried to be by myself. And then I processed, like, okay, I'm not a wife anymore, and tried to take all the labels away. And then the pivot was, I am who I am. And I wasn't able to articulate the process. And when I was listening to you, I was like, oh my gosh, that is the process. So thank you so much. And it can be applied for every area of our life, not just your job. Like, as women, we carry all these labels. I'm, like Denise said, I'm somebody's mother, I'm a grandma, I'm all these people. And sometimes we get attached to those labels, or people make us feel like those labels, define us. And you do find when you go through the process, they don't define you. So thank you so much. I think you're brilliant anyway. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And honestly, for me, I'll be completely transparent. It wasn't easy for me. And I remember, I don't think she's on here today, but my friend Andrew used to always ask me, or say to me all the time, hey, DeNea, I know you enjoy the biotech industry and you love it in the lab, but is this really what you want to do with your life? And for the longest, anybody that knows me know I would switch jobs like every 2 to 3 years, just job. All because I never really sat down personally with that pause process myself. I never really sat down with it. And one day I was forced to sit down, because I had this reduction in workforce that kind of happened. And then I had another one, and then another one, and then another one. And I was like, okay, finally, DeNea, you're going to have to learn how to deal with this a little more strategically. And also, when I sat with the pause, or more so with the process, I would say, it allowed me to really just sit. It was uncomfortable, but to really sit and kind of listen to, where does God want me to be right now? You've been navigating your own life up until this point, DeNea, and you've been jumping jobs. Mainly because it was something back in the day when I worked at Merck that they had. It was a program called the Management Development Program, where they would move you every couple of years. So I just decided on my own that I would do something similar to that. But in all of that moving and all of the reduction in workforce, the downsizing and everything else, I kind of got caught in a situation where I wasn't really listening, and it was beginning to take a toll. So when I finally kind of sat down and really leaned into, okay, this is where I am. This isn't who I am, but this is where I am. What's my next move? Is when it really started to come clear for me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Carol might have been in one of those pictures when I was pulling up at the beginning. Anybody else have any comments, questions, feedback they want to give? I don't want to rush anybody. Awesome. Well, this was so good today. This was so good. Thank you. Let me see what some of the people said in the chart.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at it as well.
So I said something earlier. And then we want to close up. Somebody said that's the subject. Somebody, Stephanie was saying that subject touched home for her because she just recently lost her job on January 22nd. So praying that God leads you to the right next for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see. Somebody else. That the pause quiets the noise, the process reveals the truth. Sylvia, that stuck out to her when you said that. Taking the time, my aunt said, taking the time to think, however, I immediately began damage control.
Yeah.
Lead with who I am. Yeah, that's definitely, if we start to do that or what we're passionate about. I used to always say, especially, I'll get you right in a minute, Mary. When I was working full time and then had a business, I would always train myself not to talk about the full time because it can do nothing for me, right? So I was always would lead with the business, so I can see that if there's something you're passionate about, tell people what you want them to know, right? What you value, what you know. So I love that. Yes, Miss Mary on Mondays.
Hey everybody. Hey DeNea.
Hello, how are you?
I just want to say thank God for the pause. Tonight has been, oh my. Um you go through life and you experience things and you realize in the pause that, oh my God, I have been living like a robot. Just going through the motion.
Yep.
With everything, with your job and everything. And when you're in that pause, God speaks during that pause only if we have an ear to hear. And a lot of times we can't hear what God is telling us when we're working and going through that and dealing with family, spouses and children and everything. But when He gets you in that pause, you don't have a choice. So you have answered so many questions that I have struggled with and have had for the past 2-3 years. I have been in a storm.
Wow.
And everybody does not know my full testimony. Denise knows a little bit, but I have not given my full testimony. But tonight, I really thank God for the pause. And I thank God because in the pause, I was able to reconnect with Denise to be on this Zoom on tonight. So, yes, I appreciate you, Miss DeNea. That was awesome tonight.
Thank you so very much. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate that.
So Sinitra, she made me multitask. So I'm gonna read hers. Where'd it go? Oh gosh. Here we go. She said, "Won't He do it? Thank you for the pouring into us with such strength, grace, and authenticity. Your message reminded us of the power we carry and the importance of walking boldly in our purpose. You didn't just speak; you empowered."
Thank you very much. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, that get 100 days of believing bigger. That's so good, y'all. Get it, 100 days of believing bigger. So anybody else before I close us up out of here?
Yes, Denise and Miss Conner, I have a question.
Yes.
So what about our sisters that just don't have the energy to even think about the pause or just don't survive, that experience, that traumatic experience, that you went to? And the other thing I want to say is I apologize that you had to go through that. But what about some of the sisters that just don't have the energy or just don't have the skills? What words might you have to say to one of them?
For someone that just doesn't have the energy, I would say, even if it's small micro pauses, it may be, a couple seconds here where you walk to the bathroom. If you're at work, for example, you walk to the bathroom, you just sit down. For me, I went to the car and I just kind of sat there and I sat still for a while. So micro pauses will kind of help you. And even if you're able to get just a few, 2 minutes, 3 minutes alone, and just kind of say a prayer to yourself, Lord, help me. The simplest prayer, Lord, help me in this moment. As you slowly begin to go throughout the day with the micro pauses, eventually what was started off as maybe 5 seconds, maybe a minute, and you'll slowly get to a point where you're able to just kind of sit down and give yourself a full 5 minutes to kind of think. And once you're able to just pause for 5 minutes and listen in complete silence, because there's a difference between being still and really pausing to listen to what's being said inside of you versus all of the external. That's when, for me, God was really able to speak to me, because I stayed in motion all of the time. But when I was able to kind of just sit there, and it started off as micro pauses for me, and I was able to just kind of sit there to the point that I got to 5 minutes, that's when I really started hearing what God had to say. And then the more I read a devotion in the morning, or I just kind of walked throughout the day saying, Lord, help me. Father, speak to me. What is it that you want me to learn? What is it you want me to do in this moment? Then he slowly began to reveal things to me, whether it was through people or his word or circumstances, just what I would consider or the world would consider coincidence, was God just kind of slowly speaking to me, but he couldn't really talk to me while I was busy. So I had to learn to pause in micro pivots, or micro steps, I should say, before I was able to sit still longer than 3 to 4 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm big on community. And I think sometimes, and I remember a young lady saying this, is sometimes we can be there for people without saying anything. It's just your presence. So sometimes just from what you just said, DeNea, is even pausing with someone, pausing with that sister, right? Just, we ain't got to talk about it, just sitting there with them. Mm-hmm. And if they want to talk, they do, but just being present, and not even asking, what do you need? Just physically just being present will help them get to that space of pausing. Because sometimes it's hard to get out of your own head, out of yourself, and getting to the point where you can do it with just you and God. That's ultimately, of course, where we're trying to get people. But sometimes people need help to get to that, because they're so caught in their personal circumstances. So just, can I sit with you? Just physically being present for whatever they may need, because a lot of times people can't even communicate what they need. And if you were the person also, which is the strong person, right, that's supposed to be able to know what to do, right? Talk about that girl who is feeling that she got to stay busy because so many people is depending on her, and they're used to her figuring it out. Like, oh, girl, you're known to be the good one, the one who's getting it off. Just even empower them. My sister just lost her mom. One of my half sister just lost her mom, and she was getting overwhelmed by all the texts, right? The people. Literally, she was like, "This is like too much," and I said, first of all, you don't have to respond. You don't have to respond, and just put the phone down. You don't even have to know that they text. So it's like, you don't have to even get caught up in that. But she didn't know what she was supposed to do with that. You just suddenly, her mom had been sick, but still, I don't care. Sick for 2 months or just that, she did, right?
Right.
So she still had to adjust from that. So sometimes it's just telling someone, you don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. You just don't have to do anything. So, but yeah, we got to learn and just be present, just without having.
Give yourself the gift to just be still.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. I ain't gonna even lie. Let me do this while I'm doing this. Let me do this while I'm doing this.
Multitasking got us all.
I'm working on it, intentionally working on it. Because awareness is first, right? You got to be aware that it's necessary. So I'm in my awareness phase. Y'all pray for a sister. Let's see. So I'm going to wrap it up. Is Carol on this picture? There she is. Kara, wait, here we go. Kara, you see yourself right there? I'm circling. We all was in it together. You see where I'm going to say? But let me close us out. We did all that pieces of it. Just as a reminder, please follow us on Empowered by DS. Check out the previous conversations, and also, it'll be up by tomorrow on the website. Go grab it and share it with somebody that you know can benefit from this message. Go to the Empowered by DS YouTube channel to do it. If you know anybody who's looking to connect with other women, for those who are in the tribe, hopefully you have gotten the message, have connected with us in the DT Suite on Facebook. Also, our welcome party is next Thursday, just our virtual welcome party. So I'm very excited about that. And remember, you can just text the word tribe to get more information about just all the various ways you can stay connected with us as well. That 662-212 is a magic number. You can just type words to it. Escape for the and don't add nothing. You can't put no emoji. You can't be smiling with it. You just got to type just the word, and you can just learn some of the just information and share it with other people as well, for sure. So we got on here today, you guys. It's great that we learn, but we are empowered so we can empower. So share. And if you don't know how to talk to somebody, share with the video, tell them what you learned, and be able to benefit from it as well. And if you know of anybody who can benefit from DeNea sharing on a bigger platform at your job or something like that, please check out her website. It's just her name, right? It was just your name, yep. Right? Yep. That's her name. So check out her website also so you can see what she offers. So I'm excited to have you guys with me tonight, and definitely remember to share. We share because we care. Thank y'all all for getting on tonight. I hope there was something that was said that blessed you to just be the best version of yourself or a better version of yourself as you're going through your seasons, because it's all about the season that we're in. So you guys have a great rest of the night, whether you are on the West Coast, the East Coast, down south, wherever you be, and up north. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Appreciate you. Thank you, DeNea.
Thank you.